spicy mango barbecue turkey meatballs. So I've got the ground turkey in a bowl. It's not much to look at, but I just want you to see the meatballs in their inception. All right, and I've got some grated celery. It goes in, along with some grated onion. And they're grated because then they won't interfere with the texture of the turkey. Some minced garlic, along with salt and pepper. So I'm just kind of smushing up this whole mixture, making sure the celery and the onion totally get distributed. Okay, this is all mixed together. Get rid of the turkey spoon. So now I'm gonna use a scoop, just to scoop the meatballs. You can use your hands and form them individually one by one, but we don't have time for that. Okay, and I'm doing it on a foil-lined pan, okay? So that is 1 scoop, and I have about 2,423 to go. Just kidding, 44 more to go. Okay, got them all scooped. We'll get rid of that bowl and pretend that never happened. So come to the oven page, and I'm gonna bake the meatballs at 425 degrees. They're just gonna take about 15 to 17 minutes, which is great. And so while they bake, I'm gonna make the spicy mango barbecue sauce, and it is so very, very simple. Just a few ingredients. Barbecue sauce. In order to make barbecue sauce, you have to start with some barbecue sauce, about 1 cup. But what I like about kind of doctored up barbecue sauce is you can use your own favorite as a base, and then you can doctor it up with anything you want. So I've got some agave, and this is just kind of an alternative to honey, since there's habaneros in here. Squirting in probably 3/4 of a cup, and then some water, and soy sauce, about 1/4 cup. So this has got a lot of different flavors going on. So this is spicy mango barbecue sauce. So for the spice, habanero, that'll put some hair on your chest right there. And some mango. You can use fresh mango or the stuff in a jar. Okay, so I'm gonna turn up the heat and bring this to a boil, and then I'll turn the heat down and let it simmer for 10 minutes, and by that time, the meatballs will be ready. The sauce, look. See those chunks of mango? Aren't they beautiful? We'll say goodbye to them because I'm gonna puree the sauce right in the pan with my immersion blender. It's good to use an immersion blender because that way you don't have to transfer the sauce to a blender, which can be pretty perilous when the sauce is hot. All right, so back to the meatballs. I actually took them out of the oven, and look at how great they look. They almost, I mean, they're kind of a dead ringer for beef meatballs at this point. It's hard to tell that they're not. So this is how I like to toss. I knew that was gonna happen. This is how I like to toss the meatballs. Get the foil out of there. And then grab this luscious sauce and pour it over. Hello.
Stu is gonna pass away.
Oh my gosh.
Stuart is over there like.
Let me in there.
If Stu were an emoji, he'd be the heart eye emoji right now.
I can't wait.
And then just toss them on the pan, and then you don't have to mess with a whole separate bowl. You have fewer dishes, which is good because that game's getting ready to start on TV. And then I like to serve them on sort of a deep-rimmed bowl. I'm sorry, a deep-rimmed platter. And let's see if Brie can get this done without completely destroying the kitchen. What do you think, guys?
Oh, great form.
Couldn't have done it better myself.
Okay, and then I've got some sliced green onions, just to make them extra flavorful and pretty. And then serve them with toothpicks. Talk about a platter full of wonderfulness. Spicy mango barbecue meatballs. I think I owe it to you to try one. Oh my gosh. They're so spicy. They're very spicy.
Why did you?
Oh, but in a very exciting way. Don't tell Stu how good these are, okay? It'll be our little secret.
So I'm doing Jamaican grilled jerk chicken skewers. So I have a green bell pepper that I'm gonna put on the skewer with the pineapple and red onions that I've already diced. Now I'm gonna get started on that jerk marinade. A teaspoon of ginger, a tablespoon of allspice, half a teaspoon of thyme. Dried thyme is a little bit more pungent than fresh thyme, so you wanna use a little less. I have 1 bay leaf, some cinnamon, fresh nutmeg. Jerk spice is really, really aromatic. It's spicy, it's a little citrusy, and when you add things like the soy sauce and vinegar, it makes it a little, if that makes sense. It's spicy, and it's good. Distilled white vinegar, canola oil, juice of an orange, the juice of 1 lime, and the ingredients themselves just remind me of the Caribbean islands. You know, the orange, the lime. I want to be in Jamaica right now. But instead, I'm on Edisto, which isn't bad. Caribbean people and Gullah people have a lot in common. Not only do our accents sound very similar, but our food is very similar. Dishes like rice, purloo, they actually call it the African diaspora. That means that we are all connected through our West African ancestors. So I put about 2 tablespoons of soy sauce in here and 3 tablespoons of light brown sugar. Drop 2 garlic cloves, some scallion, pinch of salt, and last but not least, the heat. Habanero is not typically found in Jamaican marinades, Jamaican jerk marinades. You would normally find a Scotch bonnet pepper, but Scotch bonnet is not easily found in the States. I'm gonna de-seed this pepper. I mean, if I put the entire thing in there, it's gonna be really, really spicy, and I don't wanna scare my girls away. But if you like spicy, just drop that whole thing in there. Get it going. Wow. I'm smelling the lime, the soy sauce, that vinegar. I'm definitely getting a kick of that habanero. This is done. I have 2 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken breast that I've cut. Pour that marinade right on top. I'm gonna make sure all those pieces of chicken get some love. So I'm gonna let this marinate for about an hour. The great thing about skewers is something that you can prepare ahead of time, get it cook in no time, so by the time your guests arrive, everything will be done. So my chicken is marinated for about an hour. Now it's time to make the skewers. There's no real instructions on how to make a skewer. It's like whatever you want to do. They don't have to match, just as long as they're cute and they're on the skewer. Vegetable first, meat next, fruit, onion, and then back to green pepper. So I've created a little pattern here. I have pepper, chicken, pineapple, onion. And I'm gonna keep doing that till I get almost to the end, and I'm gonna start another skewer. If you notice that the marinade will make a lot of marinade. So if you have any extra and you don't want to use 2 pounds of chicken, I like to do different things with the marinade. I make jerk salmon, jerk shrimp. Oh, jerk shrimp is amazing. I make this thing called Rasta pasta. And I use that marinade on whatever type of protein that I'm using, and I make it with this creamy pasta sauce. The combination of that Alfredo sauce and the jerk marinade, mind-blowing. I'll show you that another time. Brush it with a little bit more jerk marinade. Get some of that marinade on the veggies. Sprinkle a little bit more salt on top. These are done. It's time to get that grill fired up. Ooh, it's hot out here, but that's not gonna stop me from putting these skewers on the grill. We're gonna have a good time, but most of all, we're gonna eat. I've got my grill nice and hot, sprayed it down with some cooking spray, lay them diagonally. It's just a fancy grill mark that I like to achieve at the end. And if you wanna get really fancy, you can crisscross them and make a crosshatch. Cover it. Cook the chicken for about 10 minutes. I want the chicken to reach an internal temperature of about 165. Food safety. Also, something really important, you wanna make sure your grill is extremely hot. My grill is about 500 degrees right now, so you can get char marks like this. Those look great. The yellow, the pineapple, the char on the chicken is gorgeous. Look at that. I want to bring these inside to rest and then warm them back up before I serve them to my girls.
Baked coconut chicken tender with a spicy mango dip.
I'm ready.
Right? So easy and healthy. And we're starting with these beautiful chicken tenders. They come in the packs. And if you can't find just the packs of the tenders, cut your breast into strips, right?
Yeah,
like this.
you can make
Sonny, if you
strips.
don't mind, just kind of hit this with a little salt and pepper on there. What's gonna make this healthy? A, we're not deep frying it.
No.
And we're gonna use, instead of a lot of, just kind of refined flours and breadcrumbs, we're gonna use a couple swaps here, starting with coconut flour. This is gonna start our Feb station, which is our standard breading station, flour, egg, breadcrumbs. So, Sonny, once you do it, you can help me kind of start dredging it in there. Here I have a little bit of egg.
That's
and
gluten-free too, Jeff, coconut
what
flour.
is? Yes, very much so. And then we got just a little bit of light coconut milk, just to help kind of enhance that coconut flavor, right? Because these are coconut chicken tenders. And this is
Layers
kind
of flavor.
Layers of flavors, but this is where this recipe was inspired by. That my son loves chicken fingers, chicken tenders, whatever you want to call them, right? They get them on, they're on every kid's menu in the world. Here's a picture of him in Africa.
What?
Where it wasn't even on. That's a stack of cassava fries and some coconut chicken tenders.
I love to go to a meal with a child so I can
they're
steal
so
their
delicious.
chicken fingers, I'll be honest, yeah.
All right, so in here, some whole wheat breadcrumbs, some whole wheat panko they make now, it's great, and some desiccated coconut.
Ooh.
Okay, so this is crunchier. It's like, it's easier to bread with desiccated coconut. It doesn't get all sugary and caramelized in there, but it gives you a nice crunch and texture. Salt and pepper, right? We're gonna mix this all together. Sonny, beautiful.
Got my hands in there because
Look at
sometimes
you,
that's
you
what
don't
you gotta
mess.
do.
Wow,
Yeah.
Sonny.
Great. Little olive oil spray so it doesn't stick. We'll use that again in a second. Then we'll go, right, as you would. We got our flour, egg, breadcrumb, but instead we got coconut flour, egg, a little coconut milk, and that desiccated coconut and whole wheat panko, which is...
Sounds good.
Right? Already good. And coconut has a lot of great fats in it as well. So you're getting kind of double duty and, fiber in those whole wheat breadcrumbs. And right into there, so easy. We're just gonna kind of, do the little shake it off. And start layering just like that. How easy is that? You can do
Super
12. This is
simple.
12 of them. You can do as many as you got.
You can freeze at this moment right here.
Totally. Pull
And
it out.
Jeff, it's such a good method that you're using the wire rack on top of the baking sheet. That's how you get that fried effect. then.
Exactly.
All the super crispy.
Beautiful. Sonny, if you want to keep going with me, I'm going to make our dipping sauce because every
Yes,
great chicken
please.
finger needs a dipping sauce. Right now, we're going to make a nice, kind of healthy, fun dipping sauce, starting with a little mango chutney you get in the jar, right? You got those flavors of the coconut pair well with the sweetness of the mango, and a little yogurt, whole fat Greek yogurt in there, and a little diced up jalapeno. We remove the seeds and the ribs. If your kids do not like any spice, please omit this, but it's a good way just to get that flavor without, blowing the top off of their,
Spice
palate here.
introduction.
And that's it, just a nice quick thing. And you got the capsaicin and the jalapeno, which does boost the immune system.
And metabolism.
And metabolisms, here we go. So we got that nice fresh mango dipping sauce. I'll put that in there. I got my oven nice high, 400 degrees, because we want that convection in there. We want that heat to help mimic the fry. All right,
just take
that's
them
good.
aside.
Yeah, you just keep doing that.
I'll freeze these.
All right, you freeze them, beautiful, but remember to spray your sheet, and before we put them in the oven, I'm gonna give them another hit of that olive oil spray. Sarah loves using this stuff when roasting vegetables. We roast a ton of vegetables on Sunday or Monday, but this way you're kind of helping it crisp up and get golden brown in the oven. I got one ready to go. I'm gonna reserve a little bit of this for the adults, and I'll show you why in a second. Beautiful. Thank you, Sonny. Here we go, and after about 18 to 20 minutes, this is what we're looking like. Look at this. I did 2 for you guys.
Oh, good, because we're going to eat a lot of these.
Oh, those look great.
Look at that, huh? Look at that.
Oh, come on.
Beautiful, right?
Yes.
But I made a nice big salad for us, too. So you can turn this kind of kid's meal into an adult meal. You get a little fortification from some fresh veggies. So
Oh, very smart.
beautiful. So then I'm just going to put these on here. And
my
then we
key.
got these chicken fingers, coconut, put them right on top of that salad. I got some cabbage I love on salad. Just look at that beautiful color. Some fresh carrots, fresh tomatoes on iceberg. And now I'm gonna take this and add a little apple cider vinegar to it. And voila, you got yourself a quick little dressing
salad
made from that. All right, Sonny, do you want the salad or do you want just the chicken fingers? I'll give you just the chicken fingers and a little bit of dip.
Salad's a second course for Sonny. It's
like a trick question.
Focuses.
You set me up for failure there no matter what.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Get into this.
All right.
I'll have a finger.
Yeah,
want
I was
finger
ready
steak?
to just take it.
Did ginger happen somewhere?
Nope, it's probably in the chutney already, which is already, and if you guys don't know, chutney's like, you know, very close to the fruit, closest to the fruit, you know, as far as jams and jellies and all that. Nice chutneys, a little fresh ginger.
I
in
love
there,
this.
Mango.
Take note of the temperature and the cook time on this because these are perfectly juicy. Plus, when you put it on the rack here, it just allows that 360 degrees of like cooking and toastiness and.
I'm gonna start with the brown sugar rub. I added 3/4 of a cup of really packed brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of kosher salt, 2 big tablespoons of paprika. This is a super flavorful rub and a super colorful one too. I'm also gonna add 2 teaspoons of cayenne, just to add a little spice. And then I'll add 2 teaspoons of black pepper, and then about half a cup of fresh orange juice, and of course, minced garlic. Now I'll whisk this together and make sure it's all mixed. Okay, the rub is all stirred together. So I'm gonna add the ribs in. I just cut 2 racks of ribs into 2 rib pieces. It's kind of nice to cut them up and get the messy work done. You don't have to worry about getting them on a board and cutting them when they come out of the oven. And I'll get them all in there. Okay, I'm gonna get my tongs in there and just toss these around. Now, I'm gonna make it easy by lining a big sheet pan with foil, and I'm gonna get the ribs right on the foil, and I'm gonna gather them up in a parcel and bake them that way. First of all, it won't dirty up the pan. Second of all, it'll seal all the juices and moisture in and let those ribs get nice and tender. I like this marinade so much, I'm gonna pour some of the extra over. Now I'll gather up both sides. All right, I'm gonna bake the ribs at 325 degrees for 2 hours. The ribs are just about ready, and I'm gonna make the pineapple relish to go over the top. I'm using fresh pineapple. I'll put that into a bowl with some beautiful red onion, and then of course some fresh jalapeno. I've got some fresh cilantro. Now I've got a lime, which is always essential for any kind of salsa or relish. I'm gonna start by zesting in some of the zest. That should be good. And then I'll squeeze in the juice. I think I'll go in with all of it. I'm gonna add a little bit of honey. Anytime I make pineapple relish or salsa, I always kind of wish it were a little bit sweeter. That's where the honey comes in. Then just a little bit of chili powder, a little bit of salt. Now I'm gonna finish off the ribs. I'll take them out of the oven and put them on the cooktop while I crank up the broiler. Meantime, I'll open the foil cap, and oh, that smell is so wonderful. They look delicious already. I'll just push the foil flat to expose the ribs and put them under the broiler. A couple of minutes is all it takes to caramelize them.
It's my apple cheddar and brie grilled cheese, right? It's like, starting with the bread, we got some cranberry walnut bread, right from the loaf. Fresh, right from the bakery.
Artisanal bread.
Beautiful. The first thing I like to do before I start building my grilled cheese, right? It may seem sacrilege, but I like to spread butter, room temperature butter, on the outside. And how are we spreading this, kids?
Crust to
Crust to
crust.
crust.
Is a must, always. right? Just
That's
enough to
not
coat it.
controversial. Why is that? Because
Well,
most
because some
do
people just
mayonnaise.
drop the butter in the pan.
Oh, okay, I've
right?
done
And then
that.
you burn up the butter, you brown half the butter or whatever. And this way you get all the butter you need, full coverage, right? So you get that golden brown crust that we all love to. So I'm gonna get going with this one, starting with some very sharp cheddar cheese. Right,
Okay.
love it. Now I'm holding it like this so I don't get the butter on the board. You see as I'm doing here? Next, you take 3 slices of Granny Smith
Thin
apples.
slice. And your
Just-
bread, might I add, is thin sliced bread.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not
Beautiful.
regulation.
It's not regulation. Next, watch this. I'm just gonna kind of keep it like that. We got some of my favorite ingredient on the planet. Nice little kind of tang and heat you need with this. Some cherry pepper relish, right? So this is gonna go on this end. And we're gonna spread this ever so gingerly. Again, crust to crust. So every bite, you get a little, it packs that punch, right? Now, of course, this is not in a lot of grilled cheeses these days, but I'm putting it on mine since it is fall.
Add
The
it.
funkiest, the funnest melting cheese, a little Brie, 2 slices of that. And there you got the ingredients for the interior, right? We got the flavor inside that bread with the cranberries. So you got sweetness, you got spice, you got butter, you got sharp cheddar, you got funky Brie, you got spicy. What temperature do we cook grilled cheeses at, right?
I'd do it medium high.
Medium low, actually. So this is going right on there. Gentle sizzle. And to help mimic that dome, like we do at the diner, we're just gonna do a nice little lid on this, right? And we're just gonna let it kind of very low, like medium low, almost touching low, okay? We're gonna flip it once, put the lid back on. How do we know it's done? The inside looks gooey. It looks ready to go. But another thing you can do to help expedite it, and I had done this in this pan, is that you could do it in 2 sections.
Yeah.
Right, so I just want to show you guys. It's not cheating, right? If you're doing 4 sandwiches, obviously do it this way. But if you're just doing 2 or 1, this way you can kind of get everything nice and toasty in the middle. So we can sit there.
Oh, look at that bread.
That
Beautiful.
burnt
Let this-
cheese.
Edges.
That's it right there, right? So every great sandwich needs a great
Dip?
sauce or dipping thing. Yeah, so we got some great stone ground Dijon mustard. Add a little honey to this and just a little mayonnaise. Quick pantry pull right from the fridge, and you make a creamy honey Dijon, which also pairs so nice with this. And we can put this right in a little sidecar here so we can dip it in. Look at that. So easy.
All right, first things first, let's get into our spicy smoked chicken thighs. So I love chicken thighs. They're my favorite cut in the chicken. I think they're most people's favorite cuts that really love chicken. These are bone-in, skin-on, which is gonna make them moist and delicious. And I'm gonna start working on my spice mix. So this is a very easy rub. We have equal parts of cracked black pepper, kosher salt, a little bit of cayenne, and Urfa chili.
Okay, what is Urfa?
Oh, Liv, I knew you were gonna ask.
I
this.
have
You wanna
no
know.
idea. I've never even heard of this.
So Urfa is my favorite chili. It's starting to get a little bit more popular. It's my goal to make Urfa the chili of the people. But it is a Turkish chili that is sun-dried, and it has it has a little bit of spice to it. To me, it has a touch of smoky flavor, but a gentle heat, and also has like a little bit, almost like a raisiny flavor to it. It's delightful. But if you cannot find it, I would say go maybe 3/4 part ground ancho, and then 1/4 part something with a little bit of heat, like a cayenne would work fine. How do you feel about Urfa now, Liv?
I mean, listen, it sounds great. It's really, how does it taste?
It tastes great. I've been putting Urfa chili in food that you've been eating at this house for about 10 years now. So
Great, I love it.
I have cracked black pepper, kosher salt, cayenne, and Urfa chili. So I always just mix all my spices up, give them a little fork so they're evenly distributed, and then we are going to apply them to our chicken. Before I put them on the chicken, I have this chicken that's been out at room temp, so the chill is off it. I'm gonna give it a little pat with paper towels, just to get any excess moisture off the skin.
And you're using bone-in. Why do you like to have the bone-in still?
The bone in, because the bone has tons of flavor, and it's gonna help keep our chicken moist, but it's also going to add flavor as the chicken cooks. If you don't wanna see the bone, cook the meat on the bone, then take it off afterwards. You're gonna be up in a much better place. Same with the skin. Cook it with the skin on. If you don't wanna eat the skin, take the skin off afterwards. But The skin and the bones add a ton of flavor. The reason we pat the chicken dry is the dry skin is gonna help us get a little bit of crispiness when it cooks. When I plan ahead enough, I even will put the chicken like this after I pat it dry in the fridge overnight with the skin exposed to dry it out a little bit extra. And that's really where you start getting that nice crispy skin. So even coat of our rub. And then I'm gonna give these a flip, get the other side, and then we will get them on our grill. We wanna smoke these around 275, but anywhere between 225 and 325, you're going to have delicious chicken. It's just gonna change the cooking time a little bit. So don't panic if your grill starts to get a little bit too hot or it gets a little bit cooler. It's just gonna take a little bit more time. The key is to make sure that your chicken is cooked through to the temperature you want. We're gonna finish these with a glaze. So the smoking part of this situation, I'm only gonna take it to about 130, 140, and then we'll finish them with the glaze. We'll bring them up to that 165, 170 for the thighs. So this is ready. Now I have the snake method set up on the grill. And you could see in here with the snake method, so the coals are very small in the front. They start building up towards the back of the smoker, and that's just gonna give us a nice even cook. What you do is you put that first coal down, you could put a starter underneath the coal, it's gonna spark it, and then it's just gonna go coal to coal to coal to coal, so it holds your temperature throughout. We are going to put our chicken skin side up away from those coals.
Why do you do skin side up?
Because the skin is going to kind of cook and crisp a little bit and render the delicious fat from the skin into the chicken. It's almost like a self-basting situation, Liv. You know what I'm saying?
I got it.
You know what I'm saying, boneless, skinless chicken breast girl?
You know me well.
Yep. Liv moved to California and she only eats her chicken without bones and skin.
To each his own.
We're gonna have a little talk. So let me just put this lid down.
If I was doing this indoors, how would I set it up?
If you were gonna do it indoors, you could just set your oven to 275 and just let it go at 275 and let it rip. All right, chicken is going, time for our barbecue glaze. So I'm gonna give this barbecue glaze a little bit of hit because our secret guest that is coming later, let's just say that he grew up in our house and I cannot make it spicy enough for him. He loves heat and spicy food. So we are gonna do a habanero pineapple glaze. So it is gonna have a little bit of heat. Here's a great trick with habaneros. Habaneros, ghost peppers, chilies like that have a ton of heat, like an insane amount of heat. To control the heat, this is a Bobby Flay trick, only thing he's ever taught me. You take one slice, you put it in the chili, and you drop it in. And so this way, you can pull it out when you want, and it's gonna release its heat gently through the sauce. So this is a great trick. Thanks, B. Flay. I appreciate your kindness. That goes in the pot. To that, we're gonna add about 2 cups or a pint of pineapple juice. We're going to add about a cup of chunked fresh pineapple. Lime juice, because lime juice and pineapple are delicious together. Sherry vinegar, and I am gonna hack up 1 onion that will simmer in here, and we could just remove this out at the end. And we are also going to put in a little bit of honey. This is another thing I learned from Bobby. You always want that balance of sweet and spicy. You just don't want a fireball or something super sweet. So I'm gonna put this directly over the coals on my grill. We're gonna let it come up to a simmer. It's gonna cook for about 30 minutes, break down, and then I'll show you how to finish that. This has been simmering away. We have those habaneros which have broken down. Everything is nice and tender, and we are just gonna buzz this up until it is smooth. So I'm gonna remove the onions and the habanero because the trick that I showed you with the little slit in there kind of gives you the heat in a very controlled situation. But the nice thing is if I want to make it hotter, I could start adding chunks of the habanero or whatever hot chili you're using back in. So we're gonna buzz this up. So we're gonna give this a taste. Pretty good. I think it could use a little more sweet. So I'm gonna just put in a touch of honey, a little pinch of salt. And it has a bite to it now, but I know that he is gonna want it a little more bitey. So I'm just gonna drop these back in and let them continue to simmer down with the sauce. But this is a dealer's choice situation. Make it fit your palate. So this is gonna go back on. It's gonna simmer and reduce by about half, and then it'll be ready to go on the chicken. Our chicken is looking good. All right, you guys, spiciness is in the air. Chicken is off the grill. I'm gonna hit it with one more glaze. I let that go for about an hour and 10 minutes. Most importantly, always cook to a temp, not a time. So I took these thighs to about 170 internal temperature, hitting them with a little bit of that habanero pineapple glaze. God, taste the glaze. So pineapple, vinegar, habaneros, onions. Ooh.
That is really good.
Ooh.
It's not so spicy, but it's
No.
No, it's good.
Give me that glaze.
So the first thing I'm doing is doctoring up some bottled ranch dressing. I love to do that because it's just easier than starting from scratch and measuring a whole bunch of different herbs and creamy base ingredients. So to the good quality bottled ranch, I'm adding the zest of a lime, which gives it a little bit of kind of fresh tasting zip. And then I'll squeeze in the lime juice. Ooh, that's a juicy lime. Got me in the eye. And then some cilantro and a little hot sauce. Stir it around. Honestly, it really tastes like you made it yourself. So I'll put aside the dressing, and I'm gonna get into the breading of the shrimp. So the assembly line starts with seasoned flour and cornstarch. So it's basically flour, cornstarch, salt, and pepper, very simple. Egg and water mixed together. And then for the coconut, I'm gonna add about a cup of coconut flakes, and this is like the sweetened coconut that you buy in like the baking aisle. And I'll also add a cup of panko crumbs. So it's a coconutty but real crisp topping. I am madly in love with coconut shrimp. So I have a plate of shrimp. They're peeled and deveined, and I'm just gonna kind of squeeze them and open up just a little bit. So the first thing that happens is they go into the cornstarch and flour mixture, shake off the excess, and then it gets dunked into the egg wash, shake it off, and then into the coconut mixture, and that egg wash is just gonna hang on to it, and you wind up with this beautiful coconut-coated shrimp. All right, that's one shrimp. I'm gonna do the exact same thing to the rest of these. Paige, you wanna come help?
Yeah.
Okay, come help. Let's do it. Okay, many hands make light work. Isn't that right, Paige?
Yeah.
Thank you for helping me. That made it go by so fast. So Alex, check out this pretty plate of breaded shrimp. And I've got some vegetable oil that is heated about medium heat. You don't want to get it too hot. And I usually, to make sure it's ready, take a little flake of coconut and drop it in. And when it starts sizzling gently right away, then you know it's time to fry. Of course, you want to fry these in batches. So I'll just add enough to the oil so as not to crowd them, because I want them all to brown evenly and at the same pace. So that's the first batch. So I'm gonna babysit them and kind of move them around, take them out when they're brown, and then I'll keep frying the shrimp, probably in 2 additional batches. And as soon as they hit the oil, you kind of want to start moving them around so they don't gravitate toward each other and wind up in a big shrimpy clump. All right, the shrimp is fried, and just look at this beautiful plate of coconut shrimp. What I love about coconut shrimp is the little shreds of coconut wind up getting a little bit browner than the rest of the breading. And I just think it has a magnificent texture.
So nice.
You can almost hear the crunch when you look at it. So I'm gonna build the coconut shrimp salad, which is nothing more than a salad with coconut shrimp on top.
Oh.
So I have a plate of mixed greens. You can also do kale, spinach, whatever your preference. So I've got mini cucumbers and beautifully thin sliced radishes. Amazing. Mango, which I think always goes with shrimp. It's kind of just a little bit of a tropical vibe. Cashews. Love nuts in salad, whether it's almonds or sunflower seeds, anything like that. Put some over here. I love cashews. So you knew I was gonna do this, right?
Oh, baby.
Here goes the fried shrimp. And you can literally just go everywhere with it. It's quite magical, if you ask me. How pretty is this, though?
So pretty.
So pretty.
We might need another mango pile. And the last thing is just a sprinkle of fresh, gorgeous cilantro. And honestly, you know what? The ranch that we made, serve it on the side. But if you wanted to just go ahead and forego the salad altogether,
Just
you could
dipping
use
sauce.
it as a dipping sauce and just serve the shrimp as an appetizer. I love this salad, coconut shrimp salad. I love putting fried things on top of lettuce and calling it a salad. It's my favorite summer activity. Here's to coconut shrimp.
Let's take a look at this. Beautiful, huh? Mango, and I got some pineapple. So what I'm gonna do, cut a nice piece off. 1, 2, 3. And want to kind of have equal amounts. And then the same thing here. Kind of cut them about the same size. There we go. Now we're also going to do some peppers in this, and we'll get those on the grill in just a second. Now here's the key on this one. You know, a lot of times we talk about cooking and staying in the moment and staying there. Well, turn that down. Staying in the moment and staying there. This is one of the items that we do not want to let it on there too long because it will burn real fast and then we're starting all over. So put them down, you'll hear them sear. We're not trying to cook them, just throwing a little caramelization, a little color on them. Okay. There we go. Oh, you should smell that. You want to talk about flavor opening up. Okay, gonna watch them about a minute, minute and a half is all we want to go with, okay? All right, now let's talk about these peppers. Take a look at these bad boys, the Anaheim and the Red Bell. Red Bell is one of my favorite to work with. It's the mature bell pepper. It's a little bit sweeter, but the Anaheim is one people don't really know about. Well, this is the green pepper that's probably got most of the pepper flavor. You find this in the canned chilies, but it doesn't have a lot of heat. So when you think about a pepper and you think about Mexican food that doesn't have a lot of heat, this is probably the bad boy you're looking at. If you can't find the Anaheim, poblano would be another good substitute for that. Okay, so this is a little bit on the smaller side. What I'm gonna do is pop them both in here, give them a little bit of oil just to help in the charring process. And we'll throw these in the grill as soon as we get those off. All right, let's look how we're doing. Now see, if this was really a small cut, perfect, perfect. Just what I'm looking for. Warming them up a little bit. Okay, nice grilling on that side. Got different hot spots on your grill, so you'll know your grill of where you should put it and where you shouldn't put it. But that's all I'm trying to do. I'm really not trying to cook these at all. Okay, so those are there. Now, these have been rubbed. Now, a couple different ways you could do this. If you don't have the grill space, putting these on a sheet pan in your oven on broil. These will brown up real nice, especially if you want to take the skins off and sweat them. But these I just want to put a little bit of char on, just kind of change their appearance a little bit. So I'm going to throw those on. There we go. Now let me go ahead and start getting these off. If I go too far with them, they'll definitely start to mush up, and that's all I'm looking for right there. Now I've got the pineapple already done and the mango and the peppers. I'm just gonna hit it with a little bit of honey. Love working with honey. Sometimes if you ever find it in the jar and it's real hard to get out, pop it in the microwave for a second or two. Let's get some lime juice in there. All right. And then we're also going to hit it with a little bit of cilantro. You don't need a ton of this because there's a lot of juice already right there in the pineapple. Okay, hit it with a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, And nice bouquet of cilantro sitting here. Trying to get it without all the stems if I can. Just give it a nice chop. And it's gonna work its way all around the veggies and the fruit. Okay, so those go in. Okay, so I gotta chop these up, mix this up, throw the onions in. Grilled pineapple, fantastic. It's going into a grilled pineapple mango pepper salsa that I'm gonna be putting on top of some fried black sea bass. Look at that. I've got peppers, onions, a little honey, some cilantro, some lime, all mixed together. Looks dynamite. I'm gonna be putting this in the fridge and letting it chill out for a bit.
Making my grilled fish tacos with papaya slaw.
Ooh,
Very nice fresco.
I do this all the time for my kids. They love tacos, and this is a great way to get people to eat fish. Let's start with the basics. The fish, very fresh. Always get the freshest, the freshest, the freshest.
Yeah.
And I want to make them the same. When we fish cookery, you want everything the same. So I try to get the smallest, these are snapper, the smallest ones I can. Okay. Just because it's easier to cook and it's very quick cook. I want to hold that up. That is a slightly underripe papaya. And we have this really fancy device that makes nice little juliennes on it, so.
How much julienne would you like?
I would like,
About a
cup or so. I got some cabbage, I got some daikon, and I have a little salt and pepper, right? And once you get that in there, we're gonna toss it. And then I'm gonna get this on the fire. So a very simple spice mixture, easy. Chili powder, coriander. One of my favorite spices ever, cumin. Paprika for you.
Yes.
Garlic powder for you.
I'll take it.
Salt, because you have to have salt.
Billy Bowles.
Chef,
Yes.
more? That looks about half a cup.
I think that's good.
Yeah?
Thank you.
I would do a little more.
I would
That's good.
too.
GC, can I ask if
Yes.
you didn't have access to a papaya, what would you suggest?
Mango. But it's a texture thing, because that really doesn't taste like a lot. It's really the dressing. You can pop that in. Okay, so would you put some of these Thai bird chilies in there?
Yeah, no problem.
And a vinaigrette that has like quite a few ingredients. I had to write it down. Jalapeno, garlic, lime juice, fish sauce, brown sugar, water, lime zest, and salt.
Well, hey,
That's a lot.
It's a lot to memorize.
And you can put that
okay.
in there and just toss it for me gently, and then we're ready to go. Let it sit, right? Put it in the fridge if you want. Now, I'm really being liberal with these spices because it's all about the flavor of getting that real spice into the fish and having that nice char. And you just flake it with your fork, and it's very easy to serve.
I like the little touch that you're not touching the fish, but you're flipping it over with a fork so you don't get the fishy hands.
Yeah,
Okay, so I'm gonna get a little cannoli.
A little ganole.
A little ganole on a hot, you can do a griddle or the other side, the grill. I like a griddle, just me. I like to get a real nice sear, and it's hard to do on the grill side. And then we're gonna make a little other sauce, and I wanna caution you, you can make this as hot as you want. It's a little Mexican crema, a little, our
Chipotle?
favorite. Yeah.
That's a lot.
Be careful, this is like, this is enough for a lifetime of tacos,
Truly
almost,
is.
right? So just a little touch there, and a little bit of hot sauce as well.
Oh, wow.
We have our fish. Look how beautiful, how easy. What
I
was
can't
that?
wait for you to flip it, Jeffers.
I mean, that's like very easy. A nice char, right? Look at that. You want that char.
Beautiful.
And then what I'm gonna do at this point is shut it off. Shut it down.
Shut it down,
Plenty of
GZ.
heat here, carry over galore, as I like to say. Okay, you're gonna help me plate that. How was the taste of that?
Delicious,
Okay.
a little nice spicy
We have a
kick.
crema, and then at this point, it's just like, let's warm the tacos up a bit. And like, I have them already done here. I've griddled them. And I'm just gonna throw them over here just to get a little extra heat,
Ooh, a little
right?
shot.
A little shot.
I like that you're using those little street taco size tortillas.
For me, I mean, it's tacos. A lot of people think they're sandwiches. They put too much stuff in them. They're little bites, right? It's so important to like get the texture right, but also get the amount right.
Question, are those are flour tortillas, correct? Not
Flour
corn?
tortillas.
I like flour with fish tacos.
So do I.
I do too, and blue corn with meat. Just a little, that's for me. So I'm just gonna take a look at this. If you can see, it's done.
That's
It's
it?
done, that's it.
Amazing. RTC.
And it's beautiful.
And it's beautiful. And so, believe it or not, there's actually carryover cooking on the fish. So you gotta be very careful. And I'm gonna hit it with just a touch of this, which is lime. Okay? And then it's just building, right? What I like to do is put the avocado on the bottom.
Yes.
Wow.
And I've already salted this and put lime on it.
Okay.
Word. And I'm gonna take a little piece of this. Look at that feathery bit. Just that's
Don't be
enough.
cheap.
Perfect.
Don't
Not
be
too
cheap,
much.
Geoffrey.
No, not too much.
I
It's a
know the
taco.
portions are small in Florida,
And then we're
but
gonna put, no, they're not, little onion and some of the slaw. Okay?
more slaw, please.
Florida man.
Okay. Well, it's not gonna get in your mouth.
Yeah, I know, but I want more.
Okay.
It's not enough.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. And I have a little crema. Would you like some crema?
Ooh la la. Yeah, I want it all. I want the works.
This is
At the Zakarian taco bar, I want the works.
Okay.
This is a beautiful taco.
It's a beautiful tailgating meal.
Go.
Very interesting. You just put the taco directly in the plastic
I
basket.
feel this is kind of
I
sacred.
feel
Where
very.
is the parchment?
I'm like seizing up my whole existence.
Yes.
Isn't that beautiful?
It's a lifetime of putting sandwiches into
No, why waste
baskets
paper?
with paper.
I almost don't want to eat it,
Less
but
trash.
now I'm ignoring that thought. Look at that.
Oh, look at that.
Wow.
What a bite.
Look
What
at
a
that overhang.
bite.
You better take down half that taco.
That's a crema cascade.
I'm like organizing.
There it is.
Jeff.
This is sublime. First of all, the crust from the spices on the fish is a texture. It's a mood, it's a texture. The slaw is bright. There's so much acid in here. There's so many crunches, the creamy avocado. This is so balanced. Geoffrey, I want 5 of these.
Pineapple fried rice is the most iconic version of Thai fried rice, and it's the first recipe my grandma ever taught me how to make. It's a staple in my kitchen, and I can't wait for you to see how it all plates up. Let's get started. So let's start with pineapple. And the key to picking sweet pineapples every time are really using your senses. Number 1, looking for a peach or almost pink color in the fruit versus green. Green usually means not sweet yet. And when you get into these yellows and peaches, I know this is gonna be sweet. Also, the pineapple should be heavy for its size. And the last sense you're gonna use is smell. And what you're gonna wanna do is smell that base of the pineapple. And if you get that floral pineapple smell, I guarantee you this is gonna be a perfect pineapple. So I'm gonna show you how to make a pineapple into a serving bowl. Thai cuisine is kind of known for its fruit carvings, and this is the most basic version that's gonna really be a stunner at the dinner table. So the first thing I'm gonna do is look for this kind of symmetrical midpoint in the pineapple, meaning I'm gonna let the pineapple settle naturally on a flat spot, and I'm looking for that midpoint, which is right there. Do not remove the fronds. I'm keeping the fronds on. I'm gonna line up the knife parallel to where I'm gonna cut, and I'm going to angle and just slide the edge in. So I've pushed the edge in and leaned to make that first cut. Once I'm done, I'm gonna flip it 180 degrees, find that cut line again, line it up visually to split that frond in half, and just lean, slice, and I've opened up that pineapple perfectly. I have 2 potential serving bowls here, and what I'm gonna do now is chalk up on the knife, meaning I wanna grab the knife by the blade, and I'm gonna kind of just give myself a visual cut line, right? I wanna come in about 1/2 inch from the entire edge of the pineapple. Don't go all the way through. You don't wanna push through the pineapple. And the way to really control your blade is to do kind of small sawing motions. I've drawn a line from the perimeter. I'm gonna make a wedge from the center, the core, now cutting out towards that perimeter, and I've got my first wedge. I'm gonna reverse the pineapple, start in at the core, meet that first cut. There's my second. And once I go from the center in, I can push out, and here's my final cut. I'm gonna take the knife, create my last wedge here, and then trace the core out. And in 4 movements, I have 4 pieces. Very, very simple. And then I'm gonna use the actual pineapple fruit around the core for my dices. My dices are simple. A tile becomes a slice becomes a dice. So remember, that's it. I'm kind of visualizing eating pineapple rice with a spoon. Every spoon should have a good combination of some rice, the Chinese sausage, all the delicious bits in one. So that's why this pineapple is kind of a medium dice to me. So I'm gonna get the pineapple out of the way. It's time to make pineapple fried rice. So now it's time to grab aromatics, and in Chinese cooking, it's garlic and ginger, but because we're making a Thai fried rice, we're gonna add shallots to the game. So mincing shallots, garlic, and ginger are all slightly different. So for the shallots, I cut the tip and the tails off to expose the lobes. I'm gonna bring the lobes to the edge of the board so I can do a parallel knife pass, not going all the way through. Now I'm gonna go in perpendicular to the cutting board, 1/8 inch, leaving it all connected by the end there. And then finally, I'm just gonna do a 1/8 slicing pass, and that's gonna give me a perfect mince. Ginger is pretty easy. I'm not a big proponent of having to peel ginger. That's really more of a visual thing. If I served you minced peeled versus minced unpeeled ginger, you wouldn't be able to taste the difference. But just to kind of give you an idea of how I like to peel it, just to kind of keep it clean, is I'll flatten off a piece of the ginger so it sits up straight. And then I'm just gonna use the back of my knife, put pressure as I strip the skin away. It doesn't take a lot of pressure. And once the skin is stripped, I'm just going to cut it away. I'll do the same thing with the top, cut a flat edge. Yes, my grandmother would be mad that I'm wasting that ginger, but come on, man. It's really not that much. And again, stripping the ginger away. Flat tiles. 1/8 of an inch is gonna be plenty here. We'll stack those on top of each other. I'll cut those into slices. I'm gonna perpendicular cut this now. Lastly, garlic. I'm always removing the ends of the garlic and then taking them apart that way. They just kind of fall apart. With the roots removed, just taking the knife and smashing them flat. There's a nice thin layer of garlic oil that lives right between the clove and the skin, and it makes the skins just fall away. Now, hot wok or hot pan means don't over process your garlic because you don't want it to basically catch on fire and burn immediately. All right, so that's it. Aromatics are done. Let me grab the rest of my items out of the fridge. All right, so Chinese sausage is its own thing. We call it lapcheung in Chinese, and it's friggin' delicious. But if you've never had it before, it tastes like a less sweet pepperoni. It's got kind of like the spirit and the sweetness of pepperoni, but way more savoriness and way more saltiness in the best way. It's super addictive. They're usually pork or chicken. There's got a good amount of seasoning and sweetness in there. And all I'm doing here is slicing it thin on a bias because I want to render it down. There's a decent amount of fat, and just like bacon, you want to give Chinese sausage some time in the pan because you want that fat to render and you want that fat to flavor the rest of this dish. This rice was made yesterday, put in the fridge, and day-old rice is really a great trick to make sure you're not having to use too much oil in the pan. If you watch me make Chinese fried rice where I used egg, you can use hot rice. But because I'm making a Thai fried rice without egg, day-old cold rice is the key. All right, so let's make some sauce. Very simple sauce makeup. We're gonna talk about just a few ingredients. So here I've got Thai fish sauce, Thai soy sauce or soybean sauce, but I need to get one more item from the pantry. I need to get some curry powder. This is a very simple sauce to build. I'm just dumping and stirring. So liquids first, fish sauce and soy sauce. Now Thai food, hot, sour, salty, sweet, savory. I've got savory and I got salt. So sugar is gonna be sweet. I'm adding a level of spice, not hot spicy, but literal dry spices with a little bit of curry powder. And curry powder is basically turmeric, which makes that yellow, and then a mix of all these other delicious dry spices. All the ingredients in, I'm just gonna stir this up. And what I've done in restaurants before is I've multiplied this recipe, I put it in a squeeze bottle, and I've just shaken it up. It just lives in the pantry or the fridge as pineapple fried rice sauce. All right, sauce is done. I just need to grab my pan and let's get cooking. All right, so the pan is hot. I'm always starting with neutral oil, basically oil that doesn't have a lot of flavor but has a high smoke point. Aromatics, garlic, shallots, ginger. Make sure to get that super fragrant. I don't want it to brown right away. I'm gonna slow down the oil temp a little by adding my sausage. And now I'm gonna actually just use the surface area of the pan to really start rendering this Chinese sausage. I don't mind a little bit more oil to help the rendering. But again, I wouldn't be mad at you if you used bacon in here. I actually would never be mad at you if you used bacon in anything. But this is a really nice substitute. And if you are one to love egg in fried rice, this is also a great place for it. I would add it right after the oil and the aromatics and before the Chinese sausage. And as you can see, because I sliced it really thin, the Chinese sausage is already starting to crisp up on the edges and starting to render out. It's not a very high fat sausage, and while that's happening, I'm gonna cut some scallions because I have a little bit of time. So scallions in this dish are going to be a garnish. So I'm going to do a very extreme bias. So this might equate to a few normal sized scallions, but again, very thin, very extreme bias. So I'm going to be garnishing and finishing with these scallions right near the end so they warm up a little bit. And they're going to be married together with a bit of cilantro. This sausage is crispy on the edges. It's rendered out. The aromatics are brown, but they're not burnt. And now it's time to add the second protein, which is the shrimp. Now the shrimp are gonna cook really quickly. So I'm gonna toss them in that aromatic oil just very, very quickly. I'm gonna move right to the rice. I'm really kind of looking for that shrimp to not cook through all the way. So let's slow that cooking process down by adding our rice. Super important to not break the rice grains. So use that bottom of the spatula to push and then toss over and keep pushing. You know, rice is kind of representative of your health, your life, your success. So don't be going and breaking rice grains, all right? Because that's bad juju. I do want the rice to have direct contact with this pan so the edges get nice and crispy. They start to warm up and open up that flavor and that texture. And I'm also always looking at that shrimp. I don't want this cooked yet because I still have to add my pineapple sauce and garnishes, but I do want to toss this rice into that fat. That's perfect right there. All right, the rice is opening up, meaning it's declumping and getting nice and loose. Now it's time for sauce. As you're applying sauce, make sure to give that sauce a final mix to incorporate the sugar and the curry powder. And I'm actually gonna kind of use that sushi technique of the ladle of the little spatula helping to distribute the sauce. And that's just so I don't get one giant clump of sauce somewhere. So small pressing circles works the sauce into the rice. I've got nice even coverage. It's time for pineapple. Pineapple goes in. I put it in close to the end because I don't want this pineapple to cook. I just want it to warm. I don't want it to lose its acidity and its sweetness. I'm lowering down the heat. The rice has absorbed the sauce. The pineapple looks perfect. The shrimp looks perfect. I've got to taste this. This is your last chance to make sure you've got the flavors right. So I'm going in now, hot, sour, salty, sweet, savory. That's what I'm tasting for. That's perfect. If it didn't have enough flavor, it's time to add a little sauce. If you feel like, oh no, I've got too much sauce in there, you can balance that out with a little more rice. Okay, so now it's time to fold in my scallions. And you can leave a few slices if you want for the top, but the scallions are really gonna kind of warm up and melt into this rice. Looks good. Bring your pineapple boat to the pan and just start loading. Man, that looks incredible. I mean, come on. That's literally art culinaire right there. Final garnishes for me is a little bit of white pepper. It's very traditional to put just a little kiss of white pepper on the top of fried rice. Just a little bit of cilantro over the top. There you have it, Thai pineapple fried rice.